Yeah, mate, we got hards on. We're going to the end.
Hard-ons, man. Hard on. This is a Formula One podcast. Wow. How did you come up with that one, you ask? I know. My brain, it's like an absolute. It's just full of landmines like that, just bombs ready to go off. You know, just great ideas that no one's ever done before. And I wanted to originally sort of live react or talk about in some way the Drive to Survive episodes, because Drive to Survive, yeah, that's right, I'm out myself before you can say it. I'm a basic bitch. It's how I got into Formula One. The first two seasons I got out. I found it on Netflix, and I love how I found it. It was just a natural way. It wasn't like it was pushed to me on Twitter. I saw a bunch of clips. I felt like I just discovered something, like I tripped over something. And it wasn't like Netflix had it on its front page. I felt like I was typing in like sports documentaries or something along the lines, because I'd watched just Moneyball recently, and I wanted like a similar feeling, I guess. And I saw that, and I felt like I just discovered this little sport that I previously had given like no attention and just completely written off. And it was just something completely, it offered completely opposing and different things than I thought it would. And then alongside getting into the Sport for Drive to Survive, my favorite and only F1 podcast that I can listen to, can being the word, because so many of them, including this one probably, are just mediocre, boring, and I'll include this one. But if this is boring, it's going to be for a different reason. I just feel like some of the ones I listen to, it's just like the race happens, they talk about the race, and it's just like, so I don't know. But the one I found, Red Flags, shout out those guys, New Yorkians, New Yorkers, Jewish, good, strong, dependable Jewish men talking Formula One, and more or less talking the drama between it. Very funny. And the episodes I found was them talking about the characters or Drive to Survive. And yes, characters, because they talk about them like they're scripted individuals, like they're like it's their favorite soap opera, and these are literally like actors playing people. They talk about the way they got behind people like Gunther Steiner, villains. They really play into like Alonso and Horner and stuff like that, and the battle between Toto and Christian. It was great, man. And I thought I'd live react for the first one or whatever, and the people, but it's just my internet shit, and it was just too much work, and it's whatever. So instead, I'm just gonna get back on the horse, man. Get back on the horsepower, because it's Formula One. Yeah. I don't even know what horsepower is. I don't know. If I was buying a car, if I was doing something, and they said how much horsepower you're looking for, that to me, what does that mean? Is it like Mario Kart? You got like 100cc, 250cc, 50cc, or whatever. I don't know what horsepower is. I don't know what's a lot, what's a little. That's a random fact. Anyway, going into this new season, today we're just going to talk some predictions. But more some wants and don't wants, which I feel like is more or less what most people predictions are. They gloss it up, they cover it over with the sheen of, oh, these are my predictions for the season, when realistically, almost everyone's predictions, especially in sport, are infused with immense amounts of bias, what people want to happen, and as much as they try and separate themselves from that bias, it's there. And I didn't even try and pretend that it doesn't exist for me, because I know it does. Recency bias, just bias in general, I know I have it. And I'll walk out of a cinema screen of a film, and I'll actively say the words, I know I get recency bias, but I still believe this was like a good 8 out of 10. And truth behold, is that the right phrase? Long and behold, where it is. And sometimes even 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, it happened again. It's happened again. So yeah, I'll preface by saying where my alliances are, where my biases lie, so we can get that out of the way. So if I had to pick the drivers I actively want to do well, I won't give you reasons for why yet, but I'll say Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris. I know Daniel Ricciardo's reserve driver this year. I'm going to chuck Ricciardo in there. I'm going to chuck in Nick De Vries. I'm going to chuck in Alex Albon. And I think that is all for now that I will be chucking in. I don't know if I root for Piastri yet. That's another good thing about Drive to Survive. I mean, you get to see the personalities of these drivers a lot anyway. Just like radios, this is like, again, one of those things. It's not something you'd think about them having in Formula One from the outside. And you got to understand, before I watched the season, no, nothing about it. Like, I know they drive around, basically. Didn't know where, didn't know they do it over the road. Like, I didn't know. One of the most important things about Formula One that adds so much is that it's like a season format. Like, it's not just individual races. Genuinely, I thought Formula One was like this. I thought it was like the Olympics, or maybe like the World Cup, like, or what's something they do yearly, like, what's a sporting event they do? Like Wimbledon. I thought it was like Wimbledon. Like, they'd show up, they'd have a tournament each year where races would happen, and then someone would get crowned champion for that year, and then but it's not. It's like a season. It's like all the races are points. It accrues. It adds up. You can get deductions. You know, there's a leaderboard. There's like a team dynamic. You got a teammate. There's onboard radios. You can hear people just going mental in the car. Like, there's so many good aspects of it. You just don't, because like, if it doesn't have so much of this stuff, truly it wouldn't be as enjoyable like Formula One. Like, I'm not in it for like the V8 engine, whatever the fuck that means. I don't know what a V8 engine is. I know people go on about loving it so much, and like, oh, look at that chassis, which to me sounds way too sexual, but look at that chassis, right? And all this other stuff. Like, yeah, the cars look kind of cool and they go fast, and I like that, fast, right? But like, the drivers do make it. Like, you want the beef, the drama. That's what gets you truly invested. There's one thing finding cars cool. There's another thing just wanting one to do well purely because you hate their rival, or like you want to just see them knock someone else down. They got spun out on this corner. They had to do this for their teammate here, and their teammate didn't repay him back there, and it's just like, oh, it's so good, man. It's like completely different to what I get out of football. Like, what I get out of football is like, I like both sports, and I do like football more, and I've liked that like pretty much as long as I've liked sports. I've liked football, and like, it's not close to me. If you ask me, would I rather want this driver to win, or do I want Chelsea to win like the Premier League or something? Like, nothing's gonna beat that. But I do get it scratches a different itch, man, because in football it's very different. It's media trained players. You don't know them that well. They come out in interviews and they all say the same things and stuff, and we like beg for things. Like, I know they've got the Amazon All or Nothing documentaries, and you just beg for more instances where you can be a fly in the wall and see what happens behind it. And you feel like in Formula One, it's just so like, it's just so transparent, man. Like, you'll see these people's shit if they want you to. You know, that they put it all out there, man. Like, you'll see into the dressing room. You'll see, like, you'll literally hear them in the car in the moment chatting shit. Like, the Premier League, I know they do it in some countries and they've tested it and stuff, but miking up players and refs, if you heard the shit they were saying, man. And in Formula One, they just let that go. Like, I can't describe how taken aback I was, pretty much, when like you get like this young 20-year-old kid, rookie, sitting in a car, like this £1 million car or whatever, and they're like, what I would assume would be like their coaches, their bosses, their people around them, get on the radio and say, hey, you should do this maybe. And they shout back, shut the fuck up, bitch, I'm driving. And then they shut the you know what I mean? Like, and it's just natural, and no one's pissed off about it. They get out of the car and it's like, yeah, man, you know, it's the heat of the moment thing. It's just like, whatever. It's just like, it's just different. And especially in this country, because it, like, I know Formula One is all around the world, but it does kind of feel like very British, kind of. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of you're watching it through British broadcasters and stuff, so they got the British people. But I guess all around the world they got the same. I'm not sure, but it still feels very British. It feels like a British sport, kind of, even though they go around the world and it's huge in other countries and stuff. But yeah, it's so different. The way the media treat drivers and stuff. Like, if some footballers acted or said some of the stuff drivers said, the media would absolutely eat them alive in football. But the media for football and the media for Formula One must be completely different, because shit can rip in F1. You can say what you fucking want. You know, you could disrespect the team principal's mother. If you're winning races, keep going, man. Keep the slurs coming. I swear Verstappen is almost like not a racist, but doesn't deny it. He wins races, brother. Keep trucking on. No, but obviously I don't believe Verstappen is a racist. But I just mean that I remember a moment where it was like, he didn't want to take the knee or something. It was just like a weird thing that happened. It was like, okay, cool. And then people asking him like, why? Just clear up why. And he's just like, just clear it up. You'll make yourself look so much better. But he was just like refusing to say and just made him look so much worse. And even all that shit, like that racist guy, like the team principal, like of Red Bull or something, not the team principal, but like someone. It was not Horner, but like that old shriveled up shrimp, like chocolate SpongeBob looking motherfucker guy. How he called like Lewis, whatever he called Lewis, I can't remember. All this like I don't know, man. All this like upper evil in the sport that like runs it all, and like all the sort of corruption maybe that's amongst it, and all like the people cheating and people calling people out for cheating and the slippery sliminess of it all. It's just great, man. It's just different. I just basically said racism and controversy is great. You know what I'm trying to say, man. Yeah. So who do I think is gonna do well? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not keeping up with the inner workings of a car. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know. I can only assume Red Bull are still going to be doing what they do best, and that's lead races, win races. And I think all we can hope for is that Ferrari remain competitive and just get more reliable as a team in decisions, because those are a bunch of Italian clowns out there, man. They honestly, they need to get them clown shoes on and the wig and the full makeup and sit in that room until they prove otherwise. Because to be getting paid the amount they do and making those mistakes, they let Leclerc down. I like Sainz, I like Leclerc, I like all these drivers. Anyone I didn't mention I'm indifferent to or I like, but I don't actively really love or really don't love. In terms of people I don't like, I didn't mention that. Don't really like Ocon. He's a bit annoying. He's a bit rattish. I'm not calling people out for their looks, by the way, because that sounds like I'm calling him just a rat-looking guy. What I'm saying is he just has rat tendencies and personality traits, all right? And, look, I'm a taller, skinnier fellow, so I know what it's like to be a beanpole, but something about seeing him walk around pisses me off, makes me feel even more mad about myself. But no, he just bothers me. I don't know what it is. He kind of has this, like, Red Flags on their podcast, they describe it as, like, this oopsie daisy energy. I was kind of inclined to agree. I can't really think of a better explanation. That he kind of has this like, like, I don't know if this is very niche. If you've seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, they got that guy. What was his name? It's like Baby Pete, and he used to knock over this can of sardines. That was his whole thing, and he used to do it as a baby, and he used to be cute, and he used to be like he was like the mascot of this like sardine company. He'd knock over the sardine can and he'd go, and it was like cute. He's a baby, but he kept that gig until he was like a guy in his like late 20s, mid 30s, whatever. And he's got like stubble and a gut looking like the first pregnant man. And he's still doing this whole Otto thing, and it's like it's not cute anymore, man. He goes around crashing into people. Like he'll be in the car, right? They'll go team orders. They'll try and let Alonso through. Alonso's better on pace. Alonso's just a better driver. They'll be trying to do this and that. He'll just act like he can't hear him. He's like in the mode, focused, zoned in, doing his own thing. They're getting into the race. He would have just fucked up all the strategies and whatever. They ended it. Neither of them really getting decent points. And he'll just step out the car and be like, oh, did you say something? Like nothing went wrong, man. It's just like, you got kicked out. You didn't kicked out, but you lost your seat in this sport. I just feel like, no matter where some of these drivers come from, whether they came from poverty and found being rich, whether what it is, but something about being a Formula One driver, you just sometimes they just have this like arrogance or like entitlement to it, and it's just like I would be kissing ass, man. I'd be sucking if I was in Formula One and I got that seat. There's only 20 seats, man, and like you do well to get one and hold on to it, and it's so easy to lose one. They're like, I would be nice to my team, and I know you should anyway, but I'll be nice to my team. I'm like shining shoes. I'm getting everyone ice cream. You know, I'm taking people out for a free course meal, 5-course meal, whatever you want. We're rich out here. Lando Norris does that, one of the richest in the world. Like, Ocon gets that seat, loses that seat. You think, God, I had the dream in the palm of my hands, you know, and just lost it, you know, just had it and just disappeared. And then you get a chance to get that back again, and you're like fucking around in the way that he does sometimes, and he still keeps that seat. I know he's like won a race and stuff, and that's more that can be said for like people like Lando, who I would rate way higher. But I just think this guy is like in here, And the way he's going around, like with his energy, is like you'd think he's like a 4-time world champion, like he can say what the fuck he wants. Alonso can do what the fuck he wants because he's Fernando Alonso. Your name's Esteban. Esteban Rocoligo Ricardo Batoro Manoro Barreras, or whatever it was from Sweet Life. Your name's Esteban, man. Like, relax. Don't like Esteban. Perez, he's not really done anything to. Once I've actually started watching this, but I realized Perez, although he's a bit weak-chinned, a bit boring, like he's one of those people you see him try and have banter sometimes with like Max, and Max will laugh along, but it's just out of pity. It's just like he just says stuff like, "Oh, maybe we can do this later," and it's just like, yeah. And he's older. He just has older energy. I don't really think Ethan is that old. He's like late 20s, man, but he just gives late 30s energy. But yeah, no, Pablo Escobar, Perez Escobar. And the thing is, if he had Pablo energy, it would actually be great, but he just doesn't, man. He's just such a soft sort of Care Bear. But that's not why I don't like him. I don't like him because from the way he just came across, and that's so weird about it, right? Is that in Drive to Survive, when Perez was having his like battle and confrontation with Esteban, I don't think I liked Esteban, but I kind of did, man. Like when he was kind of getting in the face of Verstappen, they were fighting a bit. Like, he kind of, it seemed cooler at the time. I don't know, but like it's the same way when you're in primary school, and it's like it's cool at the time to call like your history teacher a paedophile, even though he's not, and he's got like a wife and kids at home, and you're kind of ruining his reputation here. It's kind of fun at the time to sort of run around and shoot spitballs at people. It's fun at the time to like kick the year 7's football away, but it's like then you kind of grow up and you look at it from the outside and you think you're just kind of being annoying, man. You were bored, And Esteban kind of has that energy. Like he would still. Esteban has the energy that Perez will be freaking out, can't find his passport, he's got to leave in like 5 minutes, can't find his work bag, and Esteban, like just before it's way too late and he's going to be late and it's going to be fucked, he pulls out like, I hit it. It's like, it's not funny, man. We're not in year 6 anymore. Like your humor should evolve. I don't know, I can't explain it. But anyway, Perez, I actually found annoying from the first 2 seasons. He just bothered me. I didn't like him. But then once I actually watched Formula 1, I realised he's not annoying. But I've just somehow managed to keep that rage from fictional Drive to Survive season 1 and 2. Anyone else? I like... I'm sorry, but Russell. George, that is. Sorry, my voice is dry. I've been talking way too long and way too quick. Look, when he was Mr. Saturday or whatever the fuck, and he was at Williams, and he was kind of the underdog, it was fun, and then he went to. You know what? I actually don't mind. I have nothing against George. I like George. When he went into the Mercedes the first time, and he was against Bottas, Valtteri Bottas, and he didn't get that win. Like I felt so bad, man. I was willing. I wanted him to get that win so badly. But now he's actually with Lewis because I want. As long as Lewis is beating him, I'm fine with it. That's all I want. I don't care if Russell's P20 or P2. As long as Hamilton's P1 or ahead of him at least, then I'm happy, man. But yeah, he gives me like Zuckerberg energy. Like he's kind of artificial, kind of. At times, like if he feels like sometimes you see him, it's like he's been coded by Mercedes themselves, like, and they're not fooling me. There's nothing behind the eyes there sometimes with Russell. He's just he's funny, but not intentionally, I think. And is there anyone else? I kind of don't. I think it really is just Esteban and Perez, really. There's other people, but like even Stroll, Stroll makes me laugh at times. I don't think of him much as a driver, really, good or bad. I mean, he's not great, is he? But he just his radios make me laugh, really. I guess I don't really like Tsunoda because I just find him a bit rude sometimes on the radio. Like I didn't like his energy when he came in. Like I want a driver to come through and be like, yeah, I'm the believe in himself and like sort of own it, but like you also got to be consistently good. And he just came in and was kind of shit at first and was just like still chatting shit on the radio, like shut the fuck up, shut up. And I was just like, I don't know, man. Like I get you're in the race at the moment, but still, you work with these people. They've been doing this for a while. Like, come on, man. But yeah, I can't remember who I was just talking about. Tsunoda. Oh, Stroll. Yeah, just when he gets on the radios every single time. Shut up, Brad. Brad. Like he's got this like droll like to his voice. We got Sargent in the season this year. Fun to have an American in there. I would usually back a Canadian in like Stroll, but he's just not a fun Canadian. Maybe that's just what they're like because he's from like Vancouver. I think I don't know. It's like he speaks French and shit. And what can you do when your dad is like the villain from fucking Flushed Away? But don't know. He's just not. He's not overflowing with sort of charisma. Let's just say that. Not any that he shows at least. In terms of Piastri, I want him to do Piastri to me. I like him so far, but he very easily could be George Russell to me because I liked George Russell, but it's just a matter of circumstance. Russell, you happen to be up against Lewis, and ultimately, I want Lewis to do better than you. So if you do better than Lewis, I'm not gonna like you, kind of. So you're just gonna be like suffering from success in my eyes, anyway. And Piastri's the same. Like I like Piastri, and if he was in another seat, sure, but you just happen to be in the seat next to Lando, and you can do well, but then when you're doing better than Lando, yeah. My ideals for the season, we'll wrap it up here. I'd want Hamilton to win it just to get his 8th, and I don't care what he does after. He can retire, he can do whatever he wants. He can go play darts for all I care. He can go do what the fuck he wants. You know what I mean? He could lose every single race he ever does after that. I just want him to get that 8th. So I'd like Hamilton to win. I know it's not that likely. It's not unlikely, but I just can't see Verstappen not making it very difficult at least. What else would I like? So yeah, I'd want, I'd like Perez to kind of have a bad season. No offense, Perez, but you've got your like wins and stuff. You've had your good races in Mexico. It feels bad washing someone out of a seat, but I kind of just want him to have a bad season because I want to see Ricciardo back in a Red Bull, man. I never watched Formula 1 when he was in a Red Bull, and that's where all his glory days came from, really. And I love Ricciardo when he's winning. I've spoken about this before, but Ricciardo is one of the best drivers to see win because it's fun. Like he's really good and he's won a lot, like 8-9 times, whatever. But not enough where it's just so like blasé. It's just like, yep, it's another day at the office. Every time he wins, he makes it a fucking movie, man. Like the lines he comes out with, it all feels like it's been written by the best of the best. It's like you're watching a film in the moment. Sometimes you watch a sport happen, and then you watch the film of that sport, the biopic or whatever, and obviously they add the cinematography in there. They get the nice wide angle shots and the sun set in the background, and they get the perfectly written script, and they get the sort. And Ricardo makes that moment happen of cinema. He makes a real life moment that. I want to see Ricardo back in the sport. He's just a person that you want to have around, man. Which means I got to see Perez fail. I want to see Nick De Vries outscore Sonoda. I want to see Sargent. Well, I don't know what he's about yet, so I don't know if I like him. I don't know if he's boring or not. And I want to see Piastri have a good, solid season. I want to see Albon murder Sargent, though. It's similar. I don't know if I like or don't like Sargent yet, but no matter how well he does, I want Albon to murder him. Not literally. That would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. And yeah, those are the main role goals. So we're gonna be doing these hopefully about weekly now, just going through the season and stuff. When there's races or not races, and just talking about stuff around sport. We'll be talking about the races, the racists, just the fun of it, the drama of it, the inner workings of it, Drive to Survive. We'll be talking about predictions and sort of reviews and whatever, just Formula 1 talk, man. We'll keep that going until the end of the season. And yeah, man, it's good. This is Hards On. The Hards On pod. Hard tires. We're going to the end, baby. I'll see you on the next. Thanks.